Wow, my channel has over 100 subscribers! Thank you all! To celebrate, I asked my clan for questions they'd like me to answer in a video. They had some great ideas. Let's jump right in. Scrotofragons ask, is there a way to get rid of buffs effects that don't have a shrug off option? Almost always yes. You can remove many negative effects with the skill Disco Nap or the Pasta Thrall Vampirogi, amongst other options. Buffs and beneficial effects can be removed by certain monsters, such as the Naughty Sorceress, or by using a soft green Echo Eye Drop antidote, Skia for short, from the Penultimate Fantasy Airship. Use Skias to help balance effects across quests such as increasing and decreasing combat encounters or monster level. The exceptions are effects such as Everything Looks Yellow that can't be removed at all, or zone-specific effects such as Coated in Slime from the Slime Tube Clan Basement, which can be removed by using a chamois. Pandamanster asks about the types used to describe familiars such as volleyball or leprechaun. Most basic familiars can do one or more of the following: attack enemies, attack you, add stat gain, de-level enemies, prevent enemies from attacking, give hit points, give mana points, add to meat drops, or add to item drops. Each of these abilities has a familiar to represent them, which is often used as a shorthand to describe the abilities of new familiars in discussions or on the wiki. Attacking enemies is represented by the saber-toothed lime, attacking you is represented by the stab bat, adding stat gains is represented by the blood-faced volleyball or hovering sombrero, de-leveling enemies is represented by the barnacle, preventing enemies from attacking is represented by the levitating potato, giving hit points is represented by the mosquito, giving mana points is represented by the starfish, adding to meat drops is represented by the leprechaun, and adding item drops is represented by the baby gravy fairy. Now you know the code. Afikabur asks, how do you farm many millions of meat every day? Simple question with a tricky answer. You can get meat in several different ways: fighting monsters that drop meat, getting non-combats that give you meat, getting items that can be auto-sold for meat, and getting items that can be sold in the mall or traded for meat. Let's discuss each approach in turn. The monster with the highest meat drops in the game is the Knobgoblin Embezzler with an average of 1,000 meat. Unfortunately, because of a recent nerf, you can only encounter Knobgoblin Embezzler with the lucky intrinsic from the 11-leaf clover or other Mr. Store sources. The next best monsters all have an average meat drop of 500, or about half the Knobgoblin Embezzler. Examples are the Cockroach from Pirate Realm or the Cheerless Mime Executive from a past Crimbo. You can use copies to fight these monsters, but meat farming potential is limited because it's difficult to encounter them naturally. The best meat drops from monsters in an accessible zone is Barf Mountain for an average of 250 meat each in the old Mr. Store zone Dinty Landfill. Anytime you're fighting monsters to get meat, make sure to increase your meat drops through passive skills, active effects, your familiar, and equipment. The most famous non-combat to get meat is Yahtzee in the Sunken Party Yacht at the old Mr. Store Zone Spring Break Beach. Before a nerf, you could get as much meat from the non-combat as your meat buffs would allow. Now it is capped, so you can get no more than 20,000 meat per Yahtzee. Getting items that can be auto-sold for meat is easy income, though usually small. Make sure to get passive skills to increase item drops and consider effects such as serendipity, equipment such as Mr. Ching's spectacles, or Mr. Store items such as the Book of Facts that add to normal monster drops. A special case for auto-sold items is 1970 karat gold mined from the Velvet Gold Mine at That 70s Volcano, which can be accessed using a one-day pass from the mall. The gold can be auto-sold for 19,700 meat each. This makes volcano mining, as it's commonly known, a good strategy for folks to make their first million meat before they have the skills or equipment to pile on additional meat effects. Buy the broken high-temperature mining drill and heat-resistant sheet metal from the mall, then use the mining drill to get a high-temperature mining drill. The repair may not work on the first try, so pay attention to the failure message in which component got blown up so you can buy it and try again. Once you have a functional drill, pile on the heat resistance and equip the drill to mine for gold. You need at least 15 heat resistance in order to mine, but additional heat resistance can help you cope with the heat damage from mining. Exploring spaces in the mine costs adventures, but exploring new caverns is free. Only the twinkling spaces have a chance at gold. A common strategy is to mine the twinkly spaces in the first 2 rows and then swap to a new cavern to maximize your 1970 karat gold haul. When you're done mining, check out TortureBot's display case, since it may purchase gold at a small premium to the auto-sell price when it's online. Getting items that can be sold or traded for meat is typically the best way to make your millions. World events, such as the Time Twitching Tower or Crimbo, offer opportunities to farm up and then sell limited time items, potentially for a high price. On a typical day in the kingdom, many items are bought from the mall. Look for items that are sold often at a reasonably high price and that you can farm up easily. As an example, 17 boxes, which drop from several turtle monsters in the Funhouse, were sold at an average price of 5,000 meat each in the last 24 hours for a total of roughly 85,000 meat. Another example is Unkillable Skeleton's Restless Leg from Dreadsylvania, which takes longer to get but sells for tens of millions of meat. Unfortunately for the player trying to make meat, as more people farm up an item, the lower the price goes. This means that each person tends to find an item farming niche that works well for their needs. Hope this helps you get started on your nest egg. Leviathan220 asks, is there a point at staying in the kingdom after saving the king, apart from clan dungeons or the Fernsworthy basement? Yes, though it depends on what makes the game fun for you. Some people like to get trophies, many of which require more time or resources than in a typical ascension. Some like to get tattoos, most of which come from outfits scattered all over the kingdom. Some like to get more meat, like our previous questioner. Some like to explore new zones or quests, such as clan dungeons, the sea, or Mr. Store content unlockers like the Never-Ending Party or one-day tickets. Others see Ascension as the most fun, trying to beat their own adventure day count or explore the special challenge pass. There's no wrong way to play. Mystic Macaroni asks, are there any other hidden areas like the Colo Wars battlefield that might be easily missed by players like me? For those who may not know, the Colo Wars battlefield is a location on the nearby plains that opens up only when you are level 4 or 5, have ascended at least once, and have retrieved Fernsworthy's key. The unlock conditions are so obscure that even experienced players may not know it's there. No other map locations are quite so tough to find, but there are a few others you may not have explored. When you ascend, there are 3 moon sign zones and quests that become available. It's worthwhile to explore them all. At the monorail on the right side of the tracks, you can visit the factory district and visit some empty buildings for a chance at dust bunnies to make your own earthenware muffin tin, or ride the rails for a chance at mafia rings. A ruined house in Desert Beach gives you an anti-cheese every 5 days. The road to White Citadel and White Citadel itself can be opened up by accepting a quest from your guild. Finally, a shimmering portal can be installed at your campsite by using an El Vibrato trapezoid to allow 20 adventures at El Vibrato Island, which can be extended by using El Vibrato power spheres. Hope this gives you ideas of new places to explore. Farsi asks, what is the point of looping? As background, looping is when players script their ascension using Coal Mafia to be finished in one day, use any remaining adventures that day and the next to make meat, then ascend and repeat. Players need to choose a special challenge path that they can finish in a single day with their existing skills, equipment, and Mr. Store items, so the best choice can vary from person to person. Folks who loop typically make more meat. But why? Many resources, such as 11-leaf clovers, pocket wish fights, etc., are limited in availability each day. Ascending makes them available again. Certain special challenge paths, such as community service or You Robot, may allow you to finish an ascension the same day with lots of adventures left to farm. So instead of having a full day of adventures to try and make meat, you have a full day of adventures plus any left over from your ascension. This adds up over time to help players who loop make more meat. Pastaway8 asks, how does the pressure penalty in the sea work? Each zone has a pressure penalty somewhere between 25%, such as the Briny Deeps, and 200%, such as the Dive Bar. This negatively affects meat drops, item drops, and combat initiative by the penalty amount. Certain equipment, such as the Cozy Scimitar, or effects, such as Donho's Bubbly Ballad, that make you a better diver, counteract the pressure penalty. They can negate it altogether if you have the same or more percentage of better diver effects as your zone's penalty. Thankfully, dolphins help you recover missed item drops. Dolphins will save a missed item at a rate equal to the zone's pressure penalty multiplied by the item's drop rate. As an example, if an item has a 20% chance of dropping in a zone with a 200% pressure penalty, dolphins will rescue the item 40% of the time. Dolphins show up regardless of any better diver effects, though they do respect increased item drops. Use a dolphin whistle less than 1,000 meat from the mall and defeat the dolphin to get the missed item. Haha4 asks, can you expand on items that give adventures, their uses, and limitations? Certainly. Let's limit the discussion to items that cost less than 500,000 meat for the sake of our budget. If you do the Legacy of Loathing special challenge path, consider choosing the Kremko Sausage-O-Matic. It lets you turn meat stacks into untradeable magical sausages, a size 0 food that gives 1 adventure and 1,000 mana points each, up to 23 sausages per day. Also consider choosing the pack of every card and perming the skill Ancestral Recall. You can cast the skill to consume 1 blue mana for 3 adventures each, up to 10 times per day. Emergency Margaritas and Vintage Smart Energy Drinks are the best nightcaps in the game as size 10 awesome quality booze. Wear the tuxedo shirt when drinking any martinis for an extra 1 to 3 adventures per drink. Wear the Mafia Pinky Ring when drinking any wines for an extra 12.5% adventures. Cast Ode to Booze for an extra 1 adventure per liver space and use a Pocket Wish for the effect Salty Mouth to add between 4 and 6 adventures to your next beer. The effects must be active when you drink to get applied. One adventure of Ode to Booze is used up per liver space when you drink, and salty mouth disappears altogether when you drink a beer. Use the BGE shot glass to add 3 adventures to your next drink, and once per day, Frosty's Frosty Mug to add 50% more adventures for beer or 30% more adventures for other drinks. Use mini kiwi aioli for an extra 1 adventure per stomach space for your next food. Once per day, you can use the fudge spork to add 3 adventures to your next food, and Old Scratch's salad fork to add 50% more adventures for salads or 30% more adventures for other foods. Use a whetstone and have special seasoning in your inventory to add 1 adventure each to your next food. Use a Munchies pill to add 1 or 2 adventures to epic foods. Choose the Blender Moon Sign for an extra 5 adventures from your first booze of the day, or the Opossum Moon Sign for an extra 5 adventures from your first food of the day. Milk of Magnesium adds 5 adventures to your next food once per day. The Pastamancer skill Canticle of Carb Loading can be cast once per day to add 3 adventures to the next pasta you eat. Casts can be saved over multiple days if you avoid pasta for a bigger boost when you finally indulge. You can use old spleen items to get adventures, such as Breathe It In or the Transdermal Smoke Patch, and then clean out your spleen to be used again with the size 5 Epic Quality Drink, Jar of Fermented Pickle Juice, and the size 5 Epic Quality Food, Extra Greasy Sliders. Each pickle juice or slider cleans out 5 space in your spleen, so make sure to fill up your spleen before eating or drinking these items. You can use up to 3 Mojo filters each day to clean out 1 spleen each. Spice Melange can be used once per day to clean out 3 each from your liver and stomach, so make sure to fill them up at least that much before using the Spice Melange. Purchase and use a 1-day ticket to That 70s Volcano, equip your smooth velvet gear, then head to the 4th floor to clean out 1 space from your liver once per day. It takes preparation to get the untradeable distension pill or synthetic dog hair pill, but each can be used once per day to expand your stomach and liver size each by 1. Cup of Veracity, Sweet Tooth, and Cup of Sobriety also add 1 space each to your stomach, and liver, respectively, once per day, but can be purchased in the mall. Borrowed Time lets you take away exactly 20 adventures from tonight's rollover and use them today instead. Make sure to use one on the day you ascend, since you won't have to pay back the adventures. Several items can be used up to give adventures. Brain Preservation Fluid once per day for 5 adventures, Essential Tofu once per day for between 4 and 6 adventures, Extra Time and Fancy Chocolate Sculpture for 5 adventures each the first time each day, then 3 for the second, then 1 adventure for the third, Class chocolates such as the Chocolate Stolen Accordion for 3 adventures the first time each day, then 2 for the second, then 1 adventure for the third, and Triad Summoning Scrolls for a chance at 1 adventure. Ask a friend to shoot you with a Times Arrow once per day for 5 adventures. Install the Clockwork Maid at your campsite for an extra 8 adventures per day at rollover. Use Resolution Be More Adventurous to get 2 extra adventures at rollover each, up to a total of 10 adventures. If you have liver space left at the end of the day, use Temporary X Tattoos when you're done adventuring to get 4.5 adventures per empty liver space the next day. This can give you more than the 200 cap on adventures at rollover, so it's a great choice if you plan to spend more adventures on a specific day. Once per ascension, you can use a stone wool to visit the top of the hidden temple to get 3 adventures and extend 10 random effects by 3 turns each. Finally, wearing the Mafia thumb ring while adventuring has a 4% chance to give you an extra adventure on any combat, including runs or losses, so long as the combat uses an adventure. So many ways to spend more adventures in the kingdom. What great questions! Hope you had as much fun watching as I had answering.